Oh, hey gang, how you doing? Jonathan here for Tailhunter Sportfishing, and it's time once again for the Mexican Minute La Paz video fishing report, coming to you from La Paz, Baja, Mexico, and covering all of the fishing action for our Tailhunter Sportfishing fleet here in La Paz, Baja, Mexico. This is going to cover all of the fishing action for the dates of the 29th of August through the 5th of September 2023. Wherever you are, hope you're doing well. Thanks for checking in, and of course, once again, if you like what we're doing all these years, please do us a big favor, give us a thumbs up, a like, and don't forget to subscribe. Okay, let's talk about what's been going on. You know, that last fishing report, actually the last couple fishing reports weren't too good. Getting a lot of emails, getting phone calls, a lot of little text messages, folks going, what's going on? You know, I really don't know. I've talked to folks, other outfitters who have fleets up and down the Baja, down in Cabo, down in Loreto, down in Mulegé. Almost everyone's telling me this is a really weird season. Very erratic. Waters are different. Weather patterns are different. The fish are biting differently. And of course, here in La Paz, we're not immune to any of that. It's been a really, really weird year. Things start, things stop. Waters are cold, waters are warm. Clear blue water replaced by green, ugly water. But fish are biting. It's just I can't really tell you what's going to bite these days, or I haven't been able to tell you what's going to bite because the waters are all mixed up. I think the fish are confused as well as we are. We're working really hard at it. The captains are pushing really hard. They're burning gas, looking all over the place for fish. Clients are hanging in there. They're working hard as well. We're staying out a little extra longer some days just to find the fish. So it's been that kind of a year. Well, since the last fishing report, I got to tell you, some things have improved a little bit. Now, I'm not going to say it's great. I'm not going to say it's fantastic. But given how it's been the last couple of weeks or even the last couple of months, I've got to say there's been a marked improvement. Water. Water is the number one thing. And we've had these very erratic, very unpredictable water patterns where we've had cold water, warm water. We've had warm water on top that should be there, and then cold water underneath. Everybody's confused. The fish are confused. But since the last report, I've got to tell you that we're actually finding more blue water, more of the clear stuff. On the surface, I had a temperature reading of 86 degrees the other day. Now that's more like it. But, well, the fish still aren't completely cooperative, but they're definitely better than they were. We're actually seeing and finding more Dorado. Now they're not always, I think they're, like I said, they're still confused because they're not always willing to bite. You get into a pot of them, and usually you throw out some bait, and boom, the Dorado go off. All the rods are getting bent, and we put some fish in the boat, and that's how the summertime bite usually is. Well, it's not like that. We'll find a spot, and the Dorado just, they're not interested. We're finding marlin, then they're not interested. We're going to the spots where Pargo and Dorado and Snapper usually are, and they're not interested. But then you find another spot, and boom, it goes off. For our La Paz fleet, it's been, a couple of picky Dorado here and there. Got to look around hard for them. They're all over the place. They're scattered. They're not really schooling really big. And you really just have maybe 1 or 2 or 3 shots at Dorado. If you lose them, your line breaks, you're not ready for it, well, that's your shot at Dorado. But inshore, the fishing has been very much improved. Pargo, Cabrilla, rooster, some smaller rooster fish, snapper, those kind of fish. If you wanted to do that this last week, all the fish you wanted, fun size, great eating. You could fill a box with those very, very easily for the most part. But again, very, very picky. But on the good side, seeing a lot more blue water for our La Paz fleet. At Las Arenas, I think it's because it's further south. The water temperatures and the water conditions are even better. Much more blue water. We're not having to run. 2 weeks ago, we were running as much as 12 to 20 miles out. Unheard of. 12 to 20 miles out just to try to find some clearer water. Well, the clearer water has moved closer in. The Dorado have moved closer in. We're actually, here's 2 words I haven't used together in quite a while. Dorado limits. Hey, but we actually got some this week. Some boats got, 5, 6, 7 Dorado, some nicer size. There's still some small little punky fish there, but some 10 to 20, some 30-pound fish. I actually have a fishing gallery for you to take a look at this week. I didn't have much of one last week, but a better fishing gallery this week. And you can see, if you hang on there till the end of the video, you can actually see some of the quality of the Dorado that we're catching. In addition, there's some big bonito all over the place, Jack Crevalle. We're still getting roosterfish. Here it is, September. Normally, roosterfish season is going to end, about maybe late May, June, sometimes July, depending upon the water conditions, the water temperature, as well as the feed supply, their bait that we have to find along the beaches, like the I'm trying to think, like the big sabalo that the bigger ones like. But there's still some nice sized rooster fish around. There's a little space where there's some fun size on light tackle, maybe 5-pounders. But there's some other areas still holding some 10, 20, 30-pounders. Not the big mows that we get earlier in the year that are 50 to 100 pounds, but that's not to say they're not there. But the ones we caught this week, some legitimate 30, 40, 25-pounders. So that's good news. There's still some rooster fish around, and like I said, some other species. So overall, things are improved over last week. All I can say is I've got my fingers crossed. Hope it gets better, or at least stays at what it was this last week, where everyone got some fish, everyone had fun, and it was a little easier to be out there on the water than it was 2, 3, 4 weeks ago. Another thing, it's hot. It's not as warm as it usually is. Normally we're about 105 right now. These days about 95 during the daytime, but the humidity is really, really high. If you don't hydrate. If you don't hydrate, you could end up in the hospital right now. This last week I had 3 folks down. The week before I had 2 folks down. You've got to drink water. Bring some of those little hydration packets, those little powders you can pour into water and knock those down. That will help tremendously. We had some folks go down this week. We had one person had to get an IV to replenish the electrolytes that they had lost, to replenish the fluids they had lost. They were in the medical center. Others, you're going to lose a day of fishing. You're going to feel terrible during the night. You're going to think you got food poisoning or something. What it is heat stroking, and you're just not hydrating. So if you start feeling that way, just drinking a lot of water is not going to bring it back. You've got to get the electrolytes back into you, got to get the potassium into you, so don't get there in the first place. It's hot, it's humid, you've got to take care of yourself so you have some fun with us. Anyway, a quick wrap up. I'm Jonathan for the Mexican Minute. You take care of yourself. Thanks for checking in. Thanks for spending time with us. God bless, and we'll catch you next week. Stay tuned. The fishing gallery's coming up.